Welcome back to another show and tell video. Today we're looking at something kind of rear-ended here, and first off, I do not proclaim to be any sort of expert on the subject. I'm just going off of pure observations and very high-level research off the interwebs. So I encourage you to research further on any interest to these types of items here. So what we have is just a very small selection of what's known as buttstocks, and in more detailed collapsible buttstocks for the AR-15 or M4 style of items. So very briefly, if we go a little bit even before that, there was the M16 platform, which had a fixed rifle style stock, and at some point design considerations evolved into a collapsible adjustable type of stock, but in essence it is also considered to be a fixed stock. It just has multiple positions, so it's more of a, it does have function, but it's more cosmetic as well, as you can see here just from the slight variations on appearance, but the end functionality is all the same. It gives you support for your item against your shoulder, and gives you another point of stability. When the collapsible stocks were introduced, they were in typically this style of pattern. What originally came out on the XM177 series, which evolved into the XM4 series, which then evolved into the A1 style of collapsible buttstock. So the very first ones had only two positions on the buffer tube, but that is because there were only two holes in the positions on the buffer tube at the time. Dependent on where this pin would click into the position while sliding along this grooved area here. And as time evolved and design considerations evolved, it turned into a 4 position and then a 6 position. Again, this is a retro version. I believe this came from Brownells. Feel free to research current product offerings from Brownells. And this one just happens to be modified with a Midwest Industries Sling Swivel Adapter QD. But basically they have the stock has this kind of cut through there, through which you can thread this sort of attachment, and you can see how it's cut out to accommodate this higher shelf area here and here as well. But that's just an add-on I put onto there. If you notice, there is no sling attachment point here. It is at the top. Now, one design consideration about this is probably the concern that this might be a break point. So that's when the next version of stocks that we see here all seem to have the sling attachment point now moved to the bottom and then made of metal and then mounted in separately, so for strength and whatever design considerations. Profile wise, there is also a size difference, as you can see here against all of these models here. The actual butt plate dimensions are a lot smaller on the older experimental through A1 versions, and again the sling attachment point has changed. The adjustable kind of lever has pretty much stayed the same, although this one did not have any texturing. The later versions did have a variety of textures applied to there. You can see also how we have a difference in the tube styles, how they are structurally supported and molded in a different design. We also have this kind of a air release, possibly drainage, but more for give you air release, so it makes it easier to slide this along. And might have been also to help with aligning up the pins or something during the construction. Don't hold me to that, I'm not quite sure. So if I think of anything else, we'll come back to that. So again, we're just going to be referring to buffer tube. We'll try these out later on. Moving along, I'm trying to find here which is the mil-spec versions of the next version of collapsible buttstock. So here you can see, actually, I've actually kind of futzed around this one. But this one normally would be attached like this with the sling swivel point. But I'll get to this in a second as to why it's not on here. This is a commercial version of the A1 style buttstock. You can see here a vertical profile at the very front here, similar to the older style. But now we've got different type of molding on the sides here of the channel. Still have the hole on top. Notice this little raised portion here to help increase the size of the butt plate area, as well as a dropped down area with this extra supported solid kind of triangular profile area there. You can still see they have the kind of diamond cut texturing, and again that cutout spot there, and similar edgewise. Now this version does not have texturing on the lever. By the way, you pull down to manipulate the pin, so you can slide this on the buffer tube. You might be able to see right there the restriction pin that will move up and down as I manipulate the lever. Commercial wise, you can see it does have these special kind of molding point discs that are identifiable on different styles of these buttstocks. And again, this does copy the A1 style here of the vertical profile. Similarly, this one was modified slightly with a Midwest Industries type of sling attachment. This is one that's been taken off of this one actually up here. So you can see how that mounts through. A little bit different style than this one because it doesn't have to accommodate this raised shelf area. So it actually sits flush right up against this flat portion here. As you can see how it's mounted there, and it gives you a QD point. Also, what I took off of here was a Accu-Shot monopod. Example would be something like this, and it basically replaces, I'm just going to grab one of these for example. You can see how it would mount into the point where the original sling swivel attachment point would be, but moves it slightly farther down to accommodate that. And then you can use this to give you a base of stock support when you're actually aiming back with your support hand while doing trigger work, or likewise this way when you're bracing at your shoulder. Hopefully that explains why that's on there and why these are not on there currently. Let's go on to looking at some of these commercial versions that are slightly different. So this one if I look at it, is a commercial version. It doesn't have any of those disc injection points on that side, but it does on this side. Also has a textured lever here. Similar pattern along the channel there. The hole does appear to be in the same location as on the other stocks. Same enlarged supported buttstock area, triangular area here. You can see how at this point the sling attachment point is down there. But notice that this one is rounded here, as opposed to the A1 style with the vertical point. And let's take a step back here. What I did mention about this one is this is an actual Colt stock, as you can see from the 13629 model number and the cage code right there. So I'm fighting the tension. These other two are both Spikes Tactical, as you can see from the logo, commercial style, also with the curved front area. This one just happens to have a different Midwest Industries QD or hook, HK hook, actually what it is truly, an HK hook attachment point on this one. So you can actually hook it right into there. So slightly different than this style, as you can see. So real quick, show you how these actually go on. So say you have your extension right there. You pull this down and that gives you the ability to slide this into the multiple adjustable positions. Likewise, take it off, pull, and then slide it off. And let's just take any of these at random, like this one. And again, these are all mil-spec dimensions that they're going off of for the tube and the buttstock. But you can see how it can go into different positions. So, one thing to keep in mind is that there's also commercial sized buffer tubes that are larger in diameter, and none of these will fit on easily onto them without slight fitting modification. You can do it, but it's going to be an extremely tight fit over the tube. So always try to go for mil-spec against mil-spec parts so you don't have tolerant stacking. So let's summarize what we got here. I got this whole mix-up going on. We started off with the XM177A1 style of the smaller style of collapsible buttstock with the sling attachment point at the top. We also have the kind of the Colt derivative style of early A2 M4 style buttstocks with the vertical profile here at the front. And this Colt one did have the model number and cage code. This is a later version, but quite similar. And another thing to note too, if you didn't notice the cutouts here on this Spikes Tactical for the sling swivel attachment point. It's kind of interesting how they did it on that one. So again, the commercial versions have, truly commercial versions, have this curved style at the front. So it's a way to tell the difference between true mil-spec, commercial versions of the A2 style, and then also the legacy style of collapsible buttstocks. This has been another show and tell video. Feel free to check out other show and tell videos on the channel. We also do a small selection of book reviews and as well as unboxing videos occasionally. Feel free to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you next time.